The ideal goal for my main floor. What is the ideal goal for your main floor? Reflection prompt. Peace. Like, I would like peace, period. Freedom. I want to be able to relax. Joy, for sure. There's not much of that right now. Calm. Safety. Just being. I'm always having to do stuff. I don't get to just hang out and be me. I always feel like I'm having to step into a role and do something, and it's not what I want to do. It's what I have to do all the time. Doing mode all the time. All the time. Fear, for sure. I don't want to be afraid on the main floor. Guilt, for sure, for mistakes I've made in the past. Chaos. Mine or others. Either way. There's too much chaos. There's too much, like, where we're constantly having to go get something or go buy something or go fix something going on the main floor. And I'm talking about, like, the actual house, but also just up here, like, there's too much chaos. Too many thoughts. Too many random things popping into my head all the time that I don't really need to be thinking about at the time, and overanalyzing things. Especially, like, mistakes. I overanalyze the crap out of my mistakes. I mean, removing the need to control everything. The more I try to control stuff, the more out of control it tends to feel, so that doesn't really help. What should stay? So the structure I do have needs to stay. I'm not getting rid of, like, what I have structured up here or in the actual house. And they kind of mirror each other. I mean, I definitely, like, the whole cooking and making food and feeding others thing, like, up here is like a need, I would say, because it's something that, like, if I don't do it, something's missing. Need to cook and care for others. Vitality. I mean that, like, in general with my body, like, if my mind and my body are not sharp, it gets muddled up here. So when I get out of shape, mentally or physically, that's not good for me. I like the safety in certain rooms, and I like certain rooms in my head, again, not just physically in the house, but, like, in my head being for certain specific things. I don't want to create creativity in the bathroom, in my head or physically. That's not where I want to be creating stuff. I don't do my best work there. So I like I guess that goes with structure, but I like the organization in my head, when I'm being creative, I put myself into a certain mental state, I guess, and I like that organization. I guess clarity needs to be brought in and built because everything feels muddled and confusing. More structure. I mean, again, too many thoughts that are bleeding from one room to another that need to stay in their separate rooms. When I'm thinking about work, I don't want that in the relaxation room in my head. But physically, I don't want to be doing my work in certain rooms of the actual house too. I'd like them to be separate as much as I can. Working in the kitchen or dining room for me. But I'd like to bring more joy to the rest of the house. Finding joy in simple tasks and simple things that I do would be better than needing to create it in other areas, I guess. I don't know how to say that. But I don't find joy in the basics a lot of the times. I want to get through them to get to the things I actually enjoy. Trying to find ways to enjoy, find ways to push that down, to enjoy the simple things. I think that's the main stuff that needs to be built, created, and brought to the main floor. A small shift that I could make this week. Sticking to my new morning routine that I came up with is the main thing. Sticking to morning routine. I tend to have good days, or at least better days, when I stick to that morning routine and I take care of myself. So I think that's pretty good. Small shift. It's not a big shift because it's making sure I get up at the same time every day, and I do a simple basic eat and brush teeth exercise and take my medicine and go outside and ground kind of thing. Just stand outside, breathe, close my eyes, and just try and feel calm, centered, and grounded. It's about 45 minutes, and at 6:45 is when I'm good to go ahead and take care of everybody else. All right. Let's move on to the next section, which is the basement, trauma storage and unprocessed memories. Using compassion, identify one memory, pattern, feeling, behavior that seeps upstairs into your daily life. When my wife is critical, I'm reminded of my mom nitpicking me as a kid. Just general critique from wife. Pattern example, over-explaining. I over-explain everything, or repeat things multiple times. And it comes from work, for sure. mainly because of being in IT. Everybody just blames the IT guy if anything goes wrong. My wife just blames me if anything goes wrong with the tech, which is really annoying because it's just like, it's always going to go wrong. Everything in IT will always go wrong at some point. There is no foolproof system. You try to set it up as best you can, but the reality is that it's always going to go wrong. It's just the reality of tech. Things go wrong all the time. You can get to a point where they don't go wrong as often, but they'll always screw up. That's just, it happens. And at work, I would have to over-explain everything because everyone that I worked with was an idiot. Or I worked for was an idiot. And not in a mean way, but it's just they didn't know the tech. And so if you gave them one explanation, they would just stare at you like, that didn't make any sense. And so you would keep over-explaining and coming up with a million different, like, your hard drive's like a bookshelf, and when you open the program, it pulls the book from the bookshelf and sets it on the desk so you can read it. And it's just like, I would have to come up with these examples, like a billion different ones, to try and get it to where somebody would understand what I was trying to explain to them of why something went wrong. And that it's fine for work, but in like family life, that's not really helpful. That just drags and drains down people. Like you don't need to explain everything. If you forgot to do the dishes because the kid was screaming, just be like, look, I spaced, I'll take care of it now. That's it. That's all you really have to say. Sorry, I'll fix it now. I meant to come back to it. My bad. That's about all you really need to say. You don't need to go into a detailed explanation. Well, the kid was screaming. I went to check on him. And then when I went to check on him, I realized he didn't have any clean clothes to wear, so I went to do some laundry. But while I was doing laundry, I noticed the floor was dirty, so I started sweeping it. So that the laundry didn't get done, the dishes didn't get done, the kid's still screaming, and I'm sweeping the floor. Like, who needs to hear all that? I got distracted too much. Let me go back to what I was doing originally. You could just say that. That's all she would need to hear to know, all right, he's back on track. But I will go into some giant explanation that is just unnecessary. So just really is just over-explaining. Comes from work, but, it's just not necessary. Especially if, you didn't really do anything wrong. You had to drop everything and go take care of the screaming kid. Feeling example. Overwhelmed by noise. Noise will make me feel anxious in forehead and gut. Typically, when wife needs something and I can't hear. It stresses me out. Kids are making noise. And wife and I need to communicate. Disassociating when doing tasks I don't enjoy, leading to tasks taking longer. My handwriting is atrocious and I don't care. That's why I'm making the video. Because if I just filled it out and then said, hey, let's check this out. It's an example of the workbook. The people would just be like, Yeah, it looks like a fifth grader wrote it. It's not good. Yeah, I mean, it's mostly I would disassociate at work. Like, I'm doing a menial task, like putting in notes, and it's just boring. Nothing about it is interesting. And yeah, I mean, it's just, I can do it without even thinking about it or driving. Shoot, I disassociate while driving. I do it while driving, and I'll just go in, the whole autopilot mode. And it's just, it's a habit I got into to get through the day because I hated work a lot of the times. I didn't really hate the IT stuff that I liked to do, but I hated the menial shit with IT. It really was just, it took the joy out of IT. I used to really love IT, and then I just got burnt out of the dumb stuff, dealing with customers who like don't want to learn it enough to like actually understand it. That would get on my nerves for sure. But yeah, it shows up the most often just doing chores around the house and driving. And then you're not as careful of a driver, like you're in autopilot mode, so you take turns tighter than you need to, or you miss, if you were supposed to stop somewhere else first. You go in autopilot mode and just go straight to the destination without stopping at the gas station versus stopping at wherever hey, wait, why didn't you stop? Oh shit, I was disassociating. I overhype and overdo excitement due to fear, because there was so little excitement growing up. Growing up, I felt the need to exaggerate to bring more joy in before it was gone. Typically being excited about something the kids are doing that's cool. Being excited about kids or something fun I bought. Just exaggerating how cool the moment was or something for no real reason, just like making it too much. And then I was like, bring it down. Like, it's just, it's a simple thing. Like, you can be excited about it, but it's like you're getting loud and like, ooh, like you're trying to hype me up and make me, stressed out about it. I need to sharpen my pencil in a second, so I'll pause in just a second. But after this, what small act of compassion can offer himself when this memory pattern or feeling shows up? I'm going to go ahead and do all of them. So, memory, just pause. So for the memory, pause when she's critical. For the pattern, over-explaining, that's probably also just a pause. Before I explain, pause and think, what do I actually need to communicate here? And what is too much? Feeling, when I get the heavy knot, or the overwhelmed by noise. No, heavy knot, it was her note of example. Overwhelmed by noise, if I get that anxious in the forehead and in the gut. Say, hold on, I can't hear, I'm overwhelmed, I need a minute. Just communicate that it's too much. It's gotta come down. I can't talk to you or help you right now because it's too much. So just communicating it's too much. For the behavior, if I catch myself disassociating, snap my fingers. Bring it back to the now. But whatever it was that I was disassociating and thinking about, I can always do that later during, creative, relaxing time, and it's fine. Snap fingers. The belief feeling the need to exaggerate or overexcite about something. Just breathe is all I need to do. It's cool. I don't need to go way too excited about something. I can just... Okay, so... Probably the ground with feet one. That one probably would work. If I do that when I pause, that would probably help the most. Let me see what the rest. Cold water reset. No, that I don't have time for that. Name your surroundings. Say out loud 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, 1 thing you taste. Again, I don't have time for that shit. Most of the stuff comes up when I'm knee deep in stuff around the house with the kids and the wife. Like just talking out loud. What the fuck are you doing? No. Weighted anchor. I hate weighted blankets. That's not helpful to me. Box breathing with movement is probably one that I can just go ahead and check. I can do the box breathing. That does usually help me calm down, and I already put breathe on some of the other things. No. Again, don't have time to be trying to do that when I'm overwhelmed, looking for things to do. Stop. Temperature change. Again, I don't have time to grab a hot drink and grab a cold drink when this stuff is going on typically. No. Lotion, no. And I hate the whole tapping thing with the arms. I could tap my legs, but that's only if I'm sitting down, and most of the time I'm not sitting down when these things happen. Not really something I can do. Color spotting, no, I don't have time for that. Orient to the present. I could do this part maybe in my head. The rest, again, it's just too much. Year, the month, the day, my age, and one thing that shows I'm here, not there. That might be good in the car. So this one could help in the car if I'm starting to disassociate in the car. This is something I've been wearing since I got it. It's a onyx necklace, I think, is the stone, but that would be nice. My wife got it for me, and I was like, man, that looks cool. I like it. And she made this bracelet. So one of these two, maybe just, pull on the strings of this or something. That's not too bad. This belongs to now. Yeah, hold a safe object could help. Voice reassurance. Again, when I'm overwhelmed by noise or I'm all that other stuff, no. Tapping. I don't really like the tapping thing. I'm going to have to figure out something when I get to the EMDR section of this workbook, which there is an EMDR section, because I hate the feeling of tapping. It's like a fucking bug landed on your shoulder. I just get so fucking annoyed by it. And so it does not help me. And that's a difficulty because you're supposed to be doing the physical movement when you're doing the EMDR, and I hate tapping myself. So it's I'll have to figure out an alternative for that. This is something I've already started doing, doing the whole... Now, I don't do the belly thing. I don't like putting my hand on my belly, so I like the chest. Over the heart is much better. do not like touching myself on the belly. It's just don't. I still have like loose skin from the drinking, and I don't like touching my belly. So it doesn't calm me. It makes me feel the shame and guilt of that, and it's just like that's not helpful. The ground through action. This I could do with cooking. When I'm stressed out, I've noticed that if I start just cooking something, the stress will go away because I'm focused on something that will bring me joy. You know what I mean? So that's pretty helpful. Mapping out the basement. All right, we're going to pause here, and I'll do that in a second.